Vincent, good morning. It's
Hey, good
always a
morning.
pleasure, sir. It's been too long.
I know. How you doing?
I am on top of the. Well, hey, I got a hot cup of Joe, so I'm doing okay.
I do
Atta
too. With
boy.
my wife's 31 cup when she used to sell 31 bags.
Man, it got to a point like one of my earliest episodes of the podcast was the shit I keep. And I used to have like coffee cups from everywhere, like just everything. And now I'm down to like maybe half of them because I didn't throw them away like I said I was gonna.
Yeah, it's good to get rid of them once in a while. I have this one cup I've had for about 30 years, but I can't part with it. And I never drink
Yeah.
from it. I don't know why.
What? There was one I could just remember if there's one coffee cup I wish I had, it was my grandpa had a coffee cup, and we'll talk about the taste topic, by the way, at some point. But he had a coffee cup, a big one. It was called Coffee Hound, and it was like maybe if I had this, maybe a 20 ouncer, maybe 18. But on the inside there was dots. It was like sissy pants at this level or girly man at this level, and then but you got to the top like you were a coffee hound.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I I miss that.
My oldest possession that I own right now is I have a yellow cup that's plastic and it's kind of faded because someone put it in the dishwasher, but it's a little cup that I got when I was 3. And
Whoa,
the handle is basically a 6 shooter, like a revolver gun. It's just a little plastic
hilarious.
gun cup, and I'm thinking today that would never happen, right?
Oh, hell
Uh,
no.
but
That's
that
funny.
little, but my son's used it, and now my granddaughter uses it, and I've had that cup for 51 years.
See, I do that stuff too. Like, I'll pull out a shirt and like, damn, this shirt's 20 years old. Or, well, we talked about some friends and I were talking the other like a few episodes ago. I pulled up, well, it's not I guess it's not a physical thing, but a recipe I've been making for like 54 years. Like, oh my God. I've been making that for 54 and it's still good. I'll tell you what it is someday because it's simple. But today I want to talk about a topic because I'll be honest with you because we're talking about today like about the cost of living. Everybody pays a price, what it means in the long run, what you sacrifice to for life and things like that. But and I will admit to you, Vincent, it was one of those pre-dawn drives. You're on the way to work, it's before sunrise, and you're like sun's barely coming up, and you hear this song, you're like, oh yeah, I want, I want. So maybe it's not as impactful as I thought, but I thought maybe it's something we should probably talk about because everybody goes through it, right? I mean, we all give up something.
Absolutely. I mean, I think about like when I think about that, and even like today and the struggles that young people are having, and then I think about like my dad who grew up during the Depression.
Yeah.
He was born in 1916, greatest generation, World War II, veteran. And I think of the stories he told about, to them, like even having flour and certain things, was a big
Yep.
deal, right? And
Well,
they didn't have it. And um, just, what they had to do to go, whether it's, picking apples or whatever they had to do to survive for, a
amen.
few cents a day. But they did it and they survived. And obviously, I mean, it was a different world, but you know, even going through those decades, I mean, everybody has struggles and different, but the technology's changed, um, but we've all went
Sure
through
has.
something to get
Yeah.
get where we are.
Well, when I think about it, because and hopefully this touches a tone with other single parents, because at the time I was raising two boys on my own, and looking back, I think should I have worked less and been home more? Did they have a good life? That kind of thing. But you can't beat yourself up over it. What's done is done. Like they say, you can't unring the bell, right?
Yep, I know, and I also think about like I feel like my kids have had the best of everything, and one could be appreciative, one may not be. At
Yeah,
times,
yeah, that's true.
there's things like that. But I look at, I'm proud to be able to say that, I've given them better than what I had. And you always want the next generation to have more, right? You want them to have better.
That's the
And
rule of
and
thumb.
and growing up in like southern West Virginia, I grew up in the poorest county, and my parents did. I know that we had better than what my dad had. Um, and but he always, he always provided. I mean, we always were fed. We didn't have a big house. but we were warm, we were clean, and we were fed. And I look back and appreciate that and where I grew up. And then I look at some of my cousins, and they were close to age with me. One maybe a year younger, one a year older. Um, and where they grew up, it's like you think about the opportunities and choices, right? I mean, some of it I feel like is part of opportunity where they truly had to walk up a hill, up a mountain to catch a school bus a mile in the snow. I mean, I'm not
Hmm.
exaggerating. So they didn't have the opportunity in a way, but also they made poor choices. And for example, two of my cousins that live down this up in the pretty deep in the mountains, they both died of an overdose of drugs, and
Yeah,
they
yeah.
made some horribly poor choices. And I think, what if I had been born in that holler, right? What if we call it a holler, right? What if I had been born where they were, and lived
Yeah,
there?
that's a
Would
good
I have
point.
associated with them? Would I have fought to survive and up to live up to the potential? And I think about a lot of that kind of stuff, about especially where I'm from. And I even had a lady ask me one time, like, how did you get out of that area, or how did you succeed? And I'm like, well, there's a lot of successful people where I'm from. You just don't, it's not everybody's a poor, or people
Well,
say hillbilly, right? Not
yeah, there's a
everybody's a
connotation. There's a connotation because
but
and it's the same thing. Like when I was a baby, born in Chicago, I think about it sometimes if my parents had stayed there. They moved down to north central Illinois to get halfway between. My mom was from Chicago, my dad was from Illinois farm country, and so they moved right in the middle for the grandparents. But I think once in a while, like if I stayed in Chi-Town, how would I have been different? It's but like you say, you talk about your dad from that generation. It touches every generation differently.
absolutely
Like for people, I don't know if you're a baby boomer or not, but I'm like at the right end of it. So for baby boomers, it's like it means like the sacrifice you made over a lifetime. So you can see as you get younger and younger, like Gen X, and I hate all these like designations. So I'm just going to say younger than me. So they think about right now they're in the grind of balancing work, family, and personal life, right? So it's they interpret the price of like independence. For us, it's like what we gave up to get where we are. For them, it's like the price of like right now they're going through it. And I've said it before, and they take a lot of crap, but God bless millennials because they are going through some shit. I'm telling you. Pardon my French, everybody, but you've never dealt through a pandemic. You've never had to live through a market crash like the housing bubble. It's like that's a lot to take into one lifetime and still get to where you need to be. So I can see how, they struggle with mental and emotional costs. It's the
right.
pressure to, it's like, it's just, it's beyond work-life balance. It's like that's a new form of survival kind of for them.
It is. I mean, rent is out of reach. To say, look at the price of a new vehicle. I mean, my
Yeah,
son,
I can't.
my youngest son was born in 1996, and I've seen how he and his wife. I feel like he has got a good head on his shoulders, and he's a survivor. But it's definitely, I feel, more difficult than what I had it. Um, when I was born in 1970, so I guess, what am I, Gen Xer? Is that I'm the beginning of that
Uh, let's
or the
see.
end of
Yes, you
that?
are. Yeah, you're solidly in Gen X.
Yeah. So, um, I remember the older generations basically saved every penny, and I wish I would have taken that advice. Right? There's a lot that I wish I would have done, but at the same
Yeah.
time, you don't take it with you. So where's that balance? But
Well,
today's
there
generation,
is.
it's like you're struggling to get a penny. It's not even saving. It's just you're trying to like you said, they're just trying to survive.
Well, that's the
And
hardest point. It's hardest part of savings is saving when you got nothing. I'm not complaining about, again, when I was raising two kids on my own, I was walking into my job one morning with the senior manager. I said, "Hey, Roger Meyer, if you're listening, I still think about that." I said, "Roger, how do I start, getting ahead?" It's like, because I'm living hand to mouth, basically. He's like, "Well, take, advantage of they were doing a 1-for-1 match up to 6% out of your paycheck at the time." He's like, "Take everything out and that you can to get that 1%." I was like, I remember thinking, I'd like to, but I've got to buy groceries. I can't afford it this week. And then weeks go by, and But here you are, and now what do we got? Gen Z for crying out loud. And then see they're coming up there. I don't know if they're even contemplating yet because that's from 1997. So they're what, 25, 28?
28,
Uh
yeah.
yeah, so they are. So now it's just like such an unstable world. And it didn't get any more stable after the election, I'll tell you that.
Nope, that's for sure.
But
But
it is.
yeah, it's scary when you go to the store, and even I, like, I don't really pay attention. I mean, I'm blessed to have a good job, but I, to say, well, I go to the grocery store and get mostly what I want. But when I look at the prices and I'm like, my gosh, I mean, if you're making 10, 12, $15 an hour, I mean, even eating spaghetti, right? I mean, even getting a pound of hamburgers like $7, $8 a pound for a hamburger. I mean, it's tough. I mean, I don't know how people can
Yeah,
pay rent, groceries, and even be able to eat.
I agree. I mean, I've recently hopped on the Costco train, and I'll tell you, buddy, I don't know if you remember, but get your card. That's
Yeah, yeah. I don't have
holy
one.
cow.
It's like an hour, little over an hour away. I need to
Yeah,
hour and
yeah.
15 minutes, but I should probably get one and take a trip every other week or something.
Man, I'm telling you, I go in there, I kill it. I mean, I'm doing like I don't get a cart, so I don't get tempted. So I just go with a bag. But
Yeah,
yeah, my son and my friends were all talking about, and I had and my one friend and Alex, you're gonna remain your last name will remain nameless, I guess. But I said, Alex, as because he's got three kids, and I get why he's a member. But I asked him, I said, should I, as a single guy, get a Costco card? And he almost screamed like on text. He's like, if nothing else, do it for the alcohol. I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. And I did. I saved like $9 on a case of beer, and I still got like three six packs out in the garage. So, but back to the cost of living, the metaphor is like we say, it's what you give up and go through and fight to like for survival or for success, or some people see it as for fulfillment. Do you give up, financial gains? Like you and I were talking beforehand, how much is, enough as far as kind of kicking your ass physically, but
yeah,
it guides the shape of your lives. And the common thread across it, I think everybody, regardless of the age group, is the universal sacrifices we all make, to
yeah.
find your own meaning in life.
I've seen people who, again, being from West Virginia, just people that have killed themselves physically by being
Oh
in a coal
yeah.
mine or being, look at these guys that work on these power lines during storms and during these floods and blizzards. And I mean, there's people out there doing some really tough jobs and deserve every penny, in my opinion,
Yeah.
right? I mean, and they are hustling and working and doing whatever they got to do to feed their family. And I'm telling you, I mean, all those guys get my respect because physically they are taking a beating.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
just,
I mean,
and there's people that don't care, right? I mean, there's the other extreme where they're just not gonna do whatever. They don't have the attitude to do whatever and try to make decisions. Or I don't know if it's a mental thing or you know what I mean. Like, why do people?
I think it is.
Why is there this? Some people just don't. They just give up if it's just laziness or just truly they don't think
I
about
don't
it, right?
know. I mean, there's like for example, like when and I'm going to date myself right now, so brace yourself. But when I was in college, Ronald Reagan cut all my grants. Like, thanks, Ron. Now I got to go back to Jerkwater, Illinois, and really work for. But the point is, like you're saying, I was doing whatever I could just to get by, and part of it was I went for work for a naval contractor, and we sandblasted the sub assemblies, and so I'm out there just like in a shield and shit like that, just breathing in, I don't know if it's not asbestos, silica.
Yeah,
Uh, didn't even think about it. It's like I got to make the money, and it's you do what you got to do, and it goes it even to today. It's no matter what, the work struggles, everybody sacrifices. I guess, like I say, just to build your life, and I don't have. Like for you and I think it was simple. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but if you got kids and that was my goal was to be married with kids, you struggled to make that a success. So that's
yep,
easy. It's like money in, money out. The kids come, the money goes out. But
absolutely.
that was my life dream. I've had like two dreams in life, and that was one of them. You want to know the other one, don't you? I'm not going to tell you. I'll tell you. I'll tell you. I'll
Oh,
tell you, but
yeah,
I'm still going to do it. I haven't done it yet, but I'm going to do it.
awesome. We all have dreams, and I don't know if I don't know if I'll ever become like a world famous guitar player, but
Ah, there we
still,
go.
but
Hey,
you
I've
know,
heard you. You're pretty damn good, my friend.
no, I'm not. But I really like to think of I don't know. I feel like I'm going through a midlife crisis right now, but you feel like you do what you have to do to survive, and then you get to a point, like you say, what when do you become complacent as well, right? I mean, you work hard, you have this work life balance, and then what becomes more important? It's your time, it's your
Yeah,
uh,
because it's more
activity.
limited now. I mean, you can see the end.
Yeah, and it's it's yeah, when you're in your 50s, you look and you say, well, my last days are ahead of me, not my best days are behind me. But then in
Yeah,
a way, but then or at least far as quantity of years. But then I look and I say, okay, well, what am I going to do with my time? And that's where I feel like at least if you work hard and you kind of make that sacrifice, hopefully as you go through life, you can at least be able, the goal is to enjoy those experiences. Like I
that's a
told
good
you
point.
before, like just being able to enjoy some hobbies, whether it's my guitar or whether it's shooting my BB gun in my backyard, or I've become a kid again. So I restored my dad's old Red Ryder, and then
Oh, wow.
and then I took and now like for Christmas, guess what I wanted? I wanted a train, so I bought a train to go around the tree. I hadn't had a train since I was like 8. So now I want
Me
to
either. Yeah.
yeah. So now I want to build a model railroad with a big diorama of. I want to make like a coal prep plant and a little store, and like I want to make it look like West Virginia. So I want to make like a big model railroad. So I mean, there's things I want to do, and
I agree, Vincent. I think you're midlife, and I'm still, it's
yeah,
just from the outside looking in. But
yeah,
but yeah, it reminds me because I got the old 880 Powerline BB gun pellet gun in my cabinet, and I haven't had him out in a while. I bet he works fine. I just
yep,
haven't had him out in a while. But there's some of the we like when you and I were talking, I went and looked up some notes, and unfortunately I found them because it's like the no nonsense guide to the cost of living, and
yep,
there's a bunch of like guides or rules in there, but I only highlighted in yellow the ones I think are relevant. Like the first one is life ain't free, get used to it.
yep,
So because some people have, I mean that's hard to learn, especially younger people, I think. And no offense to the younger people, I'm not pointing out any group. I'm just saying at some point you got to buckle up and say, well, let's let's do it because everything, time, money, your energy, like we were talking beforehand, we're both kind of beat. It comes at a price, as soon as you accept that, the better you can manage it.
yeah. And what's the saying everybody talks about? Whether it's diet or working out, like choose your heart, right? Choose what, no matter what, something's hard. So you got to
Yeah,
choose that path, whether you're going to buckle down financially or whether you're going to buckle down as far as working more hours. And again, it's all about balance. But sometimes, like you said, I mean, like I was saying about those guys working those labor jobs, I mean, sometimes it means working 16 hours a day. It means working 12
absolutely.
hours on a weekend, a Sunday, a holiday. But then, hopefully when you get to that point when you're in your 50s or 40s or whatever, like I'm saying, then maybe you can be able to reap some of the fruits of that and enjoy some of those, hobbies and
Yeah.
things. I
Well,
guess that's how I've looked at it. Is like it's delayed gratification in a way, but you got to work hard no matter what to get there, right?
well, like they say, hard work is the bare minimum. And I live in Texas, and a lot of people talk about, myself included, it's like that cowboy life looks pretty cool, looks pretty. But then nobody's seen the cowboy out there at 6 a.m. running a fence line and thinking
Right,
that's cool. But like you were saying though, with as far as technology and the way that I mean, since your dad's time frame, the world changes, the world evolves. So if you don't adapt, you're going to struggle.
right,
And it's like, I'm sure that like the millennial youth of today, they're adapting like crazy, and God bless them. It's even though, but on the other side, there's people like us, so people who learn new skills or adjust your mindset or stay, I guess, stay flexible, stay to adapt and you get past surviving to thriving. You know what I mean? I think that's
yep,
what you're saying. You get past a certain bubble and you like, I get a little free time. I get a little of my own time now because I have gotten to a point where I've got a little bit of money in the bank, like you're saying. I got a good job. I can afford. God bless you if you can afford a dozen eggs these days.
Yeah,
But
I totally agree with you, and I feel like that's probably one area in my life I've wasted a lot of time in the past 30 years since I got out of college was not being willing to read and learn more skills. Um, I feel like there was a lot I've left on the table by not doing that.
yeah,
Whether it's computers, whether it's electrical things, working on the house, like learning, these skills about how to work, build things, and there's so much I wish I would have done looking back. Um, and I think that's the key is always be willing to learn, be willing to listen to others, find expert. And that's what's great about technology today, right? I mean, you can go to YouTube, you can go to Reddit, you can
yeah,
go
yeah.
wherever and find so many people that are doing such incredible things. And you're right, the young people are too. But go and learn, listen, soak all that stuff in and try new things. I mean, that's how you're going to succeed in today's world.
I
You have to
I
be willing
picked.
to.
Yeah, I did it like last. It's funny you mention that because I was having. I've got two. I don't know if you've seen them before. They're called waterfall faucets in my bathroom, and one was just running dog slow. I'm like, well. I ain't gonna call a plumber and pay $200 to fix my damn bathroom sink. So I hopped on YouTube. And so long story short, if you need those waterfall faucets fixed, give me a call. I'll talk you through it because it's
Yeah,
not intuitive. But the first time you do it, then you learn it. And now I'm going to do the other one pretty soon here. But but it's sometimes it's like at the whim of it seems like the whim of others. Like you can go through and again, we've had long careers, so we've come across let's just say obstinate bosses, cornbread. We're not talking about you. Uh, uh, banks don't give a shit. Landlords don't give a shit. When the rents due, the rents due. Well, I guess the point is nobody cares about your excuses. They don't care. And I learned that early because I remember not that long ago going to my landlord, knocking on the door, say, "Hey, I don't have this month's rent. I got half. If that's okay, I give you the other half next week." And they were like, "Yeah, that's fine." Like, so I was worried about it, but they're like, "Oh, we don't care." So they probably had like three other houses, but we're talking about that little bit of free time we get, having built up maybe just a little bit, call it a nest egg, whatever you want, but a little bit of freedom. You're current on your debts, so you're not behind, you're not scratching. But you and I also talked about the physical toll. And I think we all need to realize that when it comes down to it, health is the real wealth.
absolutely. And that's something else, I tell you about running that I didn't start till I was 46, right? Um, it saved my life, and it's something again that if I had wisdom to give to other people that are young, absolutely 100% take care of yourself, number one. Because like you said, the banks don't care, the bosses don't care.
No,
Everybody's replaceable. It doesn't mean you don't go to work and work hard, because you do need to learn. You need to stay on top of your skills, because
yeah,
that's how you're going to get ahead on any job, whether you start at McDonald's or start wherever. If you want to succeed, you have to go the extra little bit, right? You have
hard
to
work
work.
is the minimum.
But then again, you have to take care of your health. I mean, whether it's mental, it's working out, it's physical. All of that is important, right? And health is number one. I mean, my sister just passed away at 62, um, back
That's
at
not a
last
good contract.
October.
Yeah, that's
Too young,
terrible.
too
That's
young.
far too
And
young.
yep, and I'm looking at that and I'm like, I'm fighting. I'm fighting for everything I can. I should have fought when I was 18, but at least I started, right? And I'm
Well,
trying.
exactly. And I don't know what it is about running, but running saved me mentally. When I found out I was getting divorced, I turned around. I don't know why. I just went across the river to the state park and I started running. And I was a runner for probably 10, 15 years until the old knees couldn't take it anymore. My doctor said, stop the damn running. He
Yeah,
literally said that. But I think, but like when we're talking about, like unfortunately, and I hate bringing up damn social media, but it's so easy to compare yourself to others. I mean,
yeah,
stop comparing. You focus on stay within yourself. The measure of success is your progress, and not because you're not going to get. Let's face it, nobody goes on Facebook and shows how ordinary a day they had. It's
right?
it's like, look how fucking I'm sorry, but pardon my French. Look how awesome. See, that's why I stopped like the first few episodes. There were some far more F-bombs, and thank you to Callan Cowan who called me out on it. So I've turned them down. But you know, but a lot of things like I also have another friend, and part of this is luck. He made a good investment, and it just skyrocketed. It was Bitcoin, but luck happens. But that's not a strategy, you guys. That's
Gambling is rarely pays off, right? And
gambling in any way probably never pays off.
yeah,
But so
and you're right about social media, and we get so caught up in it. And that is one thing that running has taught me is that I'm never going to win a marathon, right? I'm never going to win a race, but the only one I can compare myself to is me. I mean, I have to
yeah,
look at my
yeah.
time, my goals. I'm never going to be where I'm going to, I'm not trying to compete against other people. And that's the same way in life. I'm blessed, but am I going to be the next Bill Gates? Probably not. But, can I look back at life and say, what have I done to better myself? What have I done to contribute to others to help? That's where's my character? That's what I want to look at. Me,
Yeah,
right?
because even like in running, like you say, I still remember to this day what my fastest 5K was, and that was my benchmark. Can I beat 25:37? Can I beat that? And that was in the turkey trot in Utica, Illinois. Which, by the way, I don't know if you run a lot of turkey trots, but in Utica, Illinois, it starts I think at like 9:30 in the morning, and you finish. I just told you like less than half an hour, and then you go into the Catholic church and they give you a glass of beer and a plate of stuffing. Like
Oh,
that's
nice.
great. I know that's
That's
great. Oh, and plus you're in the church having a beer. It's like whoa, wait a minute, this is kind of weird. But I think if you want to get, I mean, just to sum it all up in a quick sentence, it's like life costs something for everyone, and you can complain about it or you can handle it. So work hard now or struggle later. Either way, the bill always comes due. And it's unfortunate, but it's the reality of life.
and we're never going to get out of here alive, right? I mean, in the end, we're
Yeah,
we're all.
I know, I know. And give me
What,
what's the,
what
I
are we
mean,
going to leave behind?
I heard it a long time ago in a country song, and we talked about cornbread a little while ago, but he brought it up one time at work. We were talking, and you never see a hearse with a luggage rack. So it's like, you ain't gonna take it with you. So now I get because with like I say at our age, it's like Social Security says I'm gonna be dead in 14 years,
Right?
but they don't know in my mind I'm gonna live till 93. So just so they know, they can
Yeah.
kiss my ass. But but yeah, it's good to well, I appreciate you taking the time to chat about it because like I say, I was just last week I think when I was driving to work before dawn and this old Eagles song came on. Not even Eagles, Don Henley. Uh, and he was like talking about the cost of living. I was like, damn, yeah, we should probably. And then it's been on my mind since then. So thank you for helping me clear my mind.
No problem. Thank you. Appreciate it.
But uh, but we should do this again soon, Vincent. I know everybody loves it when you get on and talk your wisdom, your West Virginia wisdom. Our episodes usually do pretty good. And speaking of episodes, this is going to be up somewhere around 140 episodes. Do you believe that? It's like I know, right? But I'm trying to,
Congratulations.
I want to thank everybody for supporting us all, all the way to the end. I say us is because it's all about us. I never do one episode alone. But thanks for supporting us this long. We're gonna keep going at her. If you want to get goofy, like I know somebody who's on this very podcast who went to Venmo.com at Mitch Wonders and dropped a little something in dropped a few jelly beans in the jar to help support our efforts toward getting the merch store started. So if you want to do that, sure would appreciate it. But Vincent, it's been good having a cup of Joe with you on a Saturday morning and talking this out. So thank you again, and I can't wait till next time.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Take care, buddy.